The film begins in China, specifically in 1925. At that time, we see Dr. Walter and his wife Kitty waiting for transportation that will take them to their home in the village of Meitanfu. Then we go back 2 years earlier. At that time, Walter was invited to a party at Kitty's house, and from the first moment he saw her, he fell in love with her. When he asked her to dance with him, she agreed. The next day, we see Kitty playing the piano, with her father, mother, and siblings around her. Her sister asks her who the young man she danced with at the party was, and Kitty replies that she knows nothing about him. Her father then tells her that he was the one who invited him, that his name is Walter, and that he is a bacteriologist who runs a research laboratory in Shanghai. Her mother then asks if she felt from Walter's way of speaking that he loves her. Kitty responds that what matters is that she loves him. Her mother tells her that all girls her age are already married, that she is getting older, and that she should marry and have children. Kitty gets angry, leaves them, and opens the door to go out, only to find Walter standing there with a gift for her. She takes it and tells him she is going out. He asks where she is going and goes with her. They walk together for a while, and when Walter sees Kitty standing in front of a flower shop, he asks her to go inside with him and lets her choose the flowers she likes. He then confesses his love and asks her to marry him. She is shocked, and when she sees him waiting for her answer, she tells him she needs time to think. He promises to do everything he can to make her happy. When Kitty returns home, she hears her mother talking on the phone with a friend, saying she has lost hope that Kitty will ever find someone to marry her. At that moment, Kitty decides to accept Walter's proposal. After their marriage, she travels with him to Shanghai and moves into their new apartment. As time passes, it becomes clear that they do not share the same interests. Kitty feels bored and asks him to play cards with her, but he doesn't even know how to play because he is always busy with his studies and research. One day, Walter tells her that he will invite his friend Charlie to lunch the next day. She tells him that she does not like Dorothy, Charlie's wife, because she is arrogant. Later, Kitty and Walter attend a theater performance, where they run into Charlie and his wife. They greet each other, and Dorothy speaks to Kitty arrogantly, so Kitty responds in the same manner. When the show begins, Kitty sits next to Charlie. Since she does not understand the Chinese actors, Charlie explains the performance to her in a humorous way that makes her laugh. Walter notices this, as it is the first time he has seen her laugh so genuinely. As time passes, Kitty and Charlie grow closer. One day, Charlie is with Kitty in her bedroom. Kitty feels that her husband has returned home, and at that same moment, the doorknob moves, but no one enters. She tells Charlie she is afraid of Walter's reaction, but he coldly replies that her husband will fear scandal and do nothing. He then gives her a ring as a gift. The next day, Walter tells Kitty that cholera has spread in a poor village called Meitanfu, and that he will volunteer there to help the people. He also tells her that they will travel to the village the next day. She becomes angry and says, "How can you ask me to do that? Do you want me to risk my life? I will never go with you." She then leaves him and goes to the bedroom. Walter then tells her that he will divorce her the next day. She is shocked, and he confronts her, saying he will accuse her of adultery. She tells him there is no need for drama, that she and Charlie fell in love and did not intend to hurt anyone, and that it is not her fault he could not make her love him, unlike Charlie, who made her fall for him. He becomes angry and tells her he knew she was naive, but did not expect her to go this far. He admits that when he loved her and proposed, he knew she did not love him, but thought she would change with time. He then tells her he agrees to a quiet divorce, but on one condition. Later, we see Charlie at the English club in Shanghai with an English factory owner and several British businessmen. The factory owner is justifying why he shot a Chinese worker. At that moment, Kitty arrives, writes a note to Charlie, and sends it to him through a waiter. He excuses himself and goes to her. Kitty tells him that Walter has discovered their affair. He takes her to a private room and closes the door. She tells him that Walter agreed to the divorce on the condition that he divorces Dorothy and promises to marry her. Charlie says he cannot divorce Dorothy. Kitty is shocked and tells him that Walter asked her to deliver this condition because he was sure Charlie would never fulfill it. She then leaves him. When she returns home, she tells Walter that she will travel with him. He replies that he expected that, which is why he asked the servant to prepare their luggage, as they will leave immediately. After that, we see them waiting for transportation to the village, which consists of men carrying them on chairs. Kitty appears uncomfortable, especially due to the intense heat. After a journey that lasts 2 weeks, they arrive at the village. When Kitty enters the house, she finds it very modest and clearly recently inhabited. When she enters the bedroom, she finds a small doll on the bed and picks it up. Her husband immediately tells her to drop it because the house was previously occupied by an American family who all died of cholera. She becomes frightened and throws the doll away. That same evening, Walter burns all the belongings of the American family. Kitty then sits alone, clearly distressed. At that moment, their English neighbor Waddington arrives and introduces himself. He says Walter invited him to dinner and tells her he will send a maid to help with cooking and cleaning. He also tells her he is the only Englishman in the area and asks if their journey by ship was comfortable. She replies that they came by land and that it took 2 weeks. He tells her it would have taken only 2 days by sea. Walter explains that they wanted to see the countryside, and Kitty realizes he chose the land route just to make things harder for her. During dinner, Waddington asks if she brought any new records, as he is bored with his own. She says no. Walter then mentions that he heard the local official might help him with his work. Waddington tells him his name is Colonel Yu, that he has a difficult personality and dislikes the British. He also mentions a convent in the village where British nuns live, refusing to leave despite the cholera outbreak, even though one of them dies every so often. At night, Kitty asks her husband about the symptoms of cholera. He tells her that the infected person loses all body fluids within the first 36 hours, suffers severe pain, and then dies. The next day, the local official arrives and tells Walter he will leave a guard at their house because the villagers kill foreigners. He then takes Walter to the village. There, Walter sees the villagers drawing water from the main well and tells the official that they must be prevented from using it until the water is tested. He then goes to the convent hospital, and when he sees the cholera patients, he cannot bear the sight, but he tries to stay composed. At the same time, Kitty writes a letter to Charlie telling him she cannot live without him. She takes the letter along with a record and leaves the house. The guard follows her until she reaches Waddington's house, where she gives him the record, then asks about the mailman. He tells her that since cholera spread in the town, the mailman has stopped working, but if she wants to send a letter to Shanghai, he knows a merchant who will travel on Friday and can deliver it for her. She hands him the letter, but when he reads on the envelope that it is addressed to Charlie Townsend, he tells her that Charlie is known for having many affairs, spending a couple of days with each woman before leaving her. Kitty is shocked, takes the letter back, and leaves. When she returns home, she tears up the letter, removes the chain holding the ring Charlie gave her, places both in a drawer, and locks it. That same evening, she has dinner with her husband. He is very reserved and responds to her coldly. The next day, Walter and a Chinese doctor analyze the well water and discover that it is contaminated. They inform the local official, who orders the well to be closed. The villagers become angry with Walter, blaming him for it. That same night, Walter returns home and tells Kitty that the nuns at the church want to meet her. The next day, Waddington takes her to the church. On the way, they notice the villagers' resentment toward the British, and some even shout at them, "You are occupiers, go back to your country." When they arrive, Kitty meets the nuns. The Mother Superior gives her a tour of the convent, where she sees older girls working in sewing. The nun explains that all of them have converted to Catholicism except one who refused. She then takes her to the music room, where Kitty sees a nun teaching young children to sing. She notices a piano and is told that the nun who used to play and teach the children died the previous week. After the visit, Kitty returns home. That evening, after dinner, she goes to the room where Walter is working on his research. Finding him asleep, she places a plate of food beside him. He wakes up and asks why she is there. She tells him she brought him dinner, but he asks her to leave. When she tries to talk to him, he walks away to his room. She follows him and asks him to forget the past so they can live happily, but he replies that he has more important things to think about. When she asks what she can do to be forgiven, he tells her she means nothing to him and that if he is angry, it is at himself for ever loving her. Kitty leaves the room and closes the door. Walter hears her crying and walks toward the door, but then stops, revealing that he still loves her. The next day, Walter goes to the river and discovers that the villagers are burying cholera victims nearby, which is contaminating the water. He takes a sample to confirm, then heads to the convent. At the same time, Kitty follows him, enters the convent, and asks the Mother Superior if she can help. The nun agrees and takes her to the ward of newborn orphans. Meanwhile, Walter confirms that the river water is contaminated and asks Colonel Yu to stop the villagers from burying their dead near the river and to find another water source, or at least use the other side of the river. The official says the distance would be too great, but Walter insists there is no other solution. Kitty begins caring for the children, though it is difficult at first. When Walter sees her, he asks what she is doing, and she tells him she has volunteered to help the children just like him. After some time, she is seen playing the piano and singing with the children, who are very happy. Walter, at the convent, hears them and stands at the door of the music room. When he sees her playing, he looks pleased. A little later, Kitty plays the same tune they danced to when they first met, and Walter remembers that moment when he fell in love with her. A few days later, at home, Kitty tells him she is very proud of the noble work he is doing. When he says she does not understand his work, she admits that she does not understand it or care about science as he does, but explains that it is because of her different upbringing, and that if he tries to bring her closer and explain things, she will understand. For the first time, Walter shows understanding and tells her she is right. After that, the authorities begin collecting the bodies and burying them far from the river. However, the villagers grow more resentful of Walter. At the same time, the official informs him that he has asked the Mother Superior to keep the nuns inside due to unrest. Walter becomes worried about his wife and goes to the convent, asking about her, only to be told she has just left. Meanwhile, Kitty is on her way home when some villagers confront her. The guard defends her but is beaten. She tries to escape but is surrounded, so she runs into a nearby house. Walter arrives just in time, stands between her and the villagers, and prevents them from reaching her. They attack him, but the guard fires a shot in the air, scaring them off. From that moment on, their relationship improves, and they begin to live like a loving couple. Walter even takes her on a boat ride along the river. Later, Kitty feels unwell while at the convent. The nuns tell her she is pregnant and inform Walter. He comes to her, overjoyed, but she tells him she is not sure whether he is the father. He replies that it does not matter and that he will treat the child as his own. After that, Walter manages to reduce the spread of cholera in the village significantly. However, people from another infected village arrive, and when he tries to stop them, a large fight breaks out between the two groups. In the end, he convinces them to stay in a camp at the edge of the village and goes there to treat them. A few days later, Waddington tells Kitty that Walter has contracted cholera. She breaks down and goes to the camp to stay by his side, but his condition worsens. One night, he tells her, "Forgive me." She asks him to forgive her instead, and at that moment, Walter dies. After burying him, she returns to London. 5 years later, she is with her son in the same flower shop where Walter confessed his love to her. As they leave, she runs into Charlie. He tries to speak to her, but she ignores him and walks away. When her son asks who he is, she tells him he is no one important. And here, the film ends. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel.